everyone. Welcome to the fall box. This is my first box. I'm super excited about it. This is actually the first video that I'm recording in the fall box, and you'll probably just see me kind of tripping my way through it, but I really hope that by recording myself doing the crafts in the box that you feel like you're here with me. Maybe your parents can do something that they need to do while you're working on your craft, and everyone can just generally have a little break. So this video, this tutorial is going to be for the Driftwood haunted house. I just think this one is so cute. I actually got this idea when I was collecting driftwood. I saw all these big pieces, and because I had done driftwood houses before, I don't know, I just kind of thought that would be a really cool haunted house. And then we added a pumpkin, a cat, and a ghost. So I'm going to show you how I did this. I have all different sizes of driftwood. I actually found this piece and it looks like a cat ear, so that's got to be my cat for this one. And then I thought this would make a cute little pumpkin, and turn it upside down like that, a ghost. This is probably one of my larger pieces, and it wouldn't fit in the fall box anyway for someone. So I'm going to use this one as a sample. In your box you have a whole bunch of paint cups. You'll use them for all of the projects, or an assortment of the projects. And the first step that we want to do is we want to paint our piece of driftwood. And I'm going to paint it black because I want my haunted house to be black. And depending on how big your piece is going to determine how long it takes you to paint. But I do want you to think about spreading that paint out. Yes, you want the piece of wood to be covered, but you don't want big globs, because before you can put your details on your house, you're going to need that paint to be dry. It just makes for such a nicer piece to work with when you're not working with wet on wet, especially for younger kids. It can be really frustrating when your paint smears and you don't want it to. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that the nice thing about having me on a video is that you can pause it or fast forward it whenever you need to. So this will take me a little bit to paint because it's quite big, but you might want, if you're finished painting yours and you want to fast forward to the next step, by all means can do that, or you can just hang on and listen to me chatter. I'm painting in all the crevices, just sort of dabbing my brush in there. You'll have a few different sizes of brushes in your box. And I'm not going to paint the back. You could, and I would encourage you, if you wanted to do that at the very end to make sure you have enough paint. Because this piece is meant to either set outside by the front door or in your front garden. It would make a really nice piece in there. Or maybe you have like a shelf or a stand that you want to give a little bit of a haunted look to. Now I'm just making sure that my paint is going on really nice and smooth, and as thin as I can, because I want it to dry fast. I don't want to be waiting for my paint to dry before I can get those windows and details on. So I'm just going to get the bottom part here, and I used my bigger brush so that it would cover more surface area. And I'm just about done. And there we go. Got that. Now I'm just going to show you that I'm smoothing it and making sure, because afterwards you can just go over And because if you've painted like sideways or all over, however you've done it, sometimes it's nice to take your brush and then just smooth over your paint, and that'll make it kind of look even. Although with the driftwood and the haunted house look, even if you don't get it smooth, that really doesn't matter because it's supposed to look old, right? Okay, so there's the first piece. Now, because I already have black on my brush, I'm gonna do my cat. And I'm just going to paint over top like this. And sometimes when it feels like you can't get into those holes, just sort of dab your brush in there. And run it along. Oh, this is going to be a cute cat. It's already starting to look so cute. Okay. It's funny how you can just look at something and have a project develop. You can do this too. You can go, we've got so many pretty places to go and look for driftwood. We go to Williston quite often, Dinosaur Lake. You actually could even use rocks. In other projects, I've used rocks and driftwood for my little making a family out of driftwood or rocks. So, you know, when you're camping or you're going for a walk, be on the lookout because you slap a little paint on it and voila. If you've been to the art house in person, you know I like to use baby wipes. I like to use them to wipe my brushes off in between colors. Now with black, that's one that I kind of recommend that you use water and wash, because it is pretty hard to wipe that off, but it's also good for your fingers. And if you don't have baby wipes, you can use just like a wet cloth. It can be your art cloth that you have at home, and you just get it wet and you can just wipe your fingers as you go, because I know sometimes when kids are here they want to constantly go and wash their hands, but it takes a lot of up and down. So just have a little wet cloth with you, and that will work really well. So now I'm going to take some white and I'm going to get our ghost started. I just think this ghost is going to be perfect. I love how the wood tapers off. All your pieces will be different, obviously. Some might do that, but then look at it like, which way do you want it? Maybe one of your pieces of wood, you'd use this one as the cat. I don't know. So it's a really good idea to kind of turn your pieces around and see what your brain kind of gravitates to. Your brain will see a picture, and that's what you should use. It's all about supplying you with some tools, but then it's up to you to kind of make it your own. And that's what I love about anything guided. It's just the starting point, and then you get to make it your own. So I am just going to finish up the top of my ghost here and get into those crevices. And I hope you're doing the same. Now with the white, this is acrylic paint, and this video isn't just for people who are purchasing my kits. Anyone can access these on YouTube, and if you have driftwood at home and that's you, I think acrylic just works the best. It's thicker, so when choosing your paint, that's what you should get. I'm going to paint our pumpkin now. It gives it gives nice coverage. And it's bright. And I just get all my acrylic paint from the dollar store. They have a really nice selection. So that's what you can do too. Don't have to spend an arm and a leg. And some of these things, I've painted driftwood in my classroom as well. We've made houses and clouds, and made a really nice portrait last June when the kids came back. So if you're a classroom teacher, there are some really neat projects you can do with your kids using just a piece or two of driftwood. And I take my family, they indulge the driftwood finding work project, so we just, lots of weekends we're going out to Hudson's Hope and just having a family day. We make a fire, roast some hot dogs, and find driftwood. So here's my pumpkin. I'm gonna let that guy dry. Do what I said, and that's just to smooth it. Okay. Okay, so I've got my 4 pieces, and they are drying. You can touch it and it will be sticky. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit more time to dry. But what I was gonna show you while we're waiting, so you might still be painting, and to fill this time while we wait for this to dry, I'm gonna take a piece of paper and a pen, and I wanted to give you some ideas on how to draw your windows. So I'm just gonna kind of make a shape like this that shows, we're gonna pretend that it's the house. And one of the things that I like is doing a couple different types of windows. A circle window like this. So you would use your yellow paint, which I'll show you, to do a circle. And I'm also going to show you how when that paint dries, then you can use a Sharpie for your finishing details. So what I like to do for kind of a spooky window is at first, it looks like a donut. You don't have to worry about doing this right now because you should be still painting or waiting for your paint to dry. And then I put some lines like this. Kind of looks like a donut, and then I'm putting the lines. And then that's your spooky window at the top. And then at the bottom, I want to get my door on there, and I want to kind of have like a curved door. But I want to also put a window and maybe some bars. So then for your windows, you could have some tall curved windows. And then you're just going to draw those lines. And if you're waiting for your paint to dry too, you can be practicing some of this. And that's what's nice about pausing, rewinding, going and getting what you need. I also like doing little squares for windows. So if I have whatever my piece of driftwood looks like, and then maybe my window at the top is a half circle with some bars. And then maybe I'm gonna just do some squares and X them. Or not X them, but line down and a line across, line down, line across. And then maybe you want your door to be a big double door. And remember, some of that's going to be covered up by your cat and your pumpkin. All right, let's see if anything is dry. I can see the black. The black takes a while. It's really tacky, which means sticky. But this white is like totally dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black Sharpie, I've got some right here. I want to make sure my ghost is the way that I want it, with this on the bottom. So I'm just going to make the mouth. Oh, you know what? It's not ready yet. Oh no, this marker's dead. See, I told you I'd trip up along the way. All right. So I'm going to come around and down like this. It is still kind of wet. So maybe we'll just wait a little bit. Give it a little. In future videos, hopefully I'll know how to pause and come back on here. Okay. Don't draw on your table at home. This is just like a half circle. Can't really see that. The other thing you can do, I did want you to use your Sharpies because I think you have more control with your Sharpies. But you can paint it. You can dab a little paint on your small brush and you can paint over top. And one of the other things you could do too, so I'm going to use the paint so that the video is not too long. And I just kind of did a long circle to make like, he was like, oh! But if you wanted, then you could wait till this was totally dry and finish it off around the edges with your Sharpie. The other thing is the eyes, and those are actually pretty easy because they're just 2 circles. So you can just dab. Oh look, he's already come to life. Isn't that cute? That is so cute. And then you can just play around with your mouth, how big you want it to be. But oh my gosh, that is so cute. Okay, so the ghost is finished. I'm gonna wipe my brush off. For the cat, we're actually gonna use these googly eyes. And that'll make him really funny because they move. And then the pumpkin, we're going to let that one dry all the way because that one definitely will be easier to decorate with a Sharpie. Those of you that feel like you want to paint it all, when that's dry, you can also use your paintbrush. There's no rules. This one's still a bit tacky, a bit shiny. But let's go on to... Oh, and that's the other thing. In the box, you'll need your glue gun, so you can plug that in. I've got mine plugged in. It's my best friend most days, except for when he's burning me. Okay, now this one is almost dry. So we're going to start with the door on this one. You wait till yours is totally dry, but Miss Mervyn just really doesn't want this video to be forever for you. So I'm going to show you how to color mix, and in your package you probably got some kind of lid that I've recycled from our yogurt or something like that. These are such good paint trays because you're using it over, so you're not buying something that you don't need to, and if it wrecks, it's not a huge deal because it's something that you used. So I'm gonna put a little paint, black paint on there. And then I'm also gonna put a little white paint, but more because you wanna make sure that it doesn't just stay black. And I'm gonna mix them together. So definitely need more white. And in your kit, I've labeled there's glue in your kit for another project, and you don't want to mix that up with the white paint. So I've got that labeled for you. So you just mix until you have the shade of gray that you want. And you can see that mine's still swirling black and white. So I'm just gonna keep mixing. You don't need a lot because you're just doing the door with this. Unless you wanted a gray cat, maybe you do. Some of you will put some different touches on, and I hope you send me pictures because I would love to see your ideas. I always say the best ideas come from you. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, let's look at my sample. I've got that gray door at the bottom, and I'm gonna do like a kind of a skinnier door, not the double door. And I'm just gonna take my gray and pretend it's like a pen and come down. And because this is such a big piece of driftwood, I'm gonna make this door pretty high because I know that my cat is gonna be covering a lot of that. So I'm gonna come way up here for my door for this piece. You'll have to just judge, they're all different. It's just something to think about. If you can't see your door, it's not the end of the world either because it might look really cute like that. Now my black paint's not totally dry, but we're still going with it. There we go. I'm just painting it in now. It's like coloring in, but painting in. This is a really big door. And you can leave your piece flat, laying flat. But I'm just trying to show you as I go. Okay, oops. Yeah, oh, that looks spooky with all those like lines. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not even gonna smooth it so that it's completely covered. I think that looks so good. Okay, set this down. I need to wipe my little brush off here, and test out my orange is getting really dry, and so is my cat, so that's perfect. Okay, and this is almost completely dry too. I can see just some little spots right here that I'm gonna smooth out a bit more so they dry quicker. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry so that you can see me decorate it the proper way with the yellow on the windows. So I'm gonna tell you a little story while we're waiting. Okay, so when I was younger, I lived in the Okanagan, and Halloween was always really fun in our house. We always dressed up. There was never snow on Halloween for us, so it was really different when we moved up here. But anyways, it was nice because we put our costumes on and we could put all the work into our costumes and we didn't have to cover them up. And one year, my mom, she dressed up like an old lady, and my mom was a really young mom, so she never really looked old. And she had like the wig, she had like this little blue hat, she had a blue suit, and a little purse, and these like, they just look like old lady white shoes. And she walked to school to pick us up, And my sister and I, we usually walked home together, and we walked right past her. We did not recognize her. It was so funny. We walked past her, and then she started laughing, and we recognized her voice, but then we turned around, and we couldn't see our mom. But then we're just like, oh my God, Mom, is that you? And it was. And so I was thinking, well, Max is upstairs. I don't want to say it too loud. But I was thinking, I'm going to do that to Max this year. I'm going to dress up like an old lady and recognize me and pick up. I'll tell you guys about it later. Okay, so, yeah, it's almost dry. I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to have my video be too long, but I also want this to be completely dry. Too bad I didn't have an option of hearing a Halloween story from you guys. Like, what are you going to be for Halloween this year? We always do like a family Halloween. So last year Max was the Joker and Hallie was Poison Ivy, which was so cute. And I was Robin and my husband was Batman, so that was really cute. We've gone as Ninja Turtles. What else have we gone? Oh, we went as, okay, Max was Buzz Lightyear one year and I was the alien. That was also one of my favorites because it was just the little Buzz Lightyear costume I made out of cardboard, and he had lights, and we spray painted his boots. I think Halloween is such a fun time to get crafty and creative. Okay, well, you know what? I think this is really close. There's just one little spot here. You can see my hands are all dirty. My little baby wipe isn't cutting it, but hopefully yours is, or your cloth. Okay, so let's get some yellow onto our brush. And let's see, I really want to do like a circle at the top because it's got that nice pointy top. And I think like if I put my ghost here, you can still see the windows below and the window up top. So I'm going to try that. So I'm going to do a circle. Remember we had talked about the half circle? You could do that as well. Actually, maybe on this one I'll do the half circle because then you can see the circle on my sample. So I'm just going to do a line like this. And then I'm going to come up and around like that. And I'm going to paint it in. And it's going to be like a spooky window. I need to do another layer, but that's because, like I said, it's not totally dry. But there we go. So there's my first window. I'm going to do some long windows right here. And with these, you can just kind of start them and then come back and finish them off. And you can see where it's dry and where it's not dry because paint just applies way nicer when it's dry. Okay, and a little, so if that happens where you do a little drip where you don't want it, you can just take a little black and go over top of it. Because I have a little yellow drip. Just gonna look here. Okay, so nice and dry on that side, you can tell, because the paint is going on so nice. Don't worry about it being perfect. Your lines may wobble. It's a haunted house, that's why I love this one, because all those imperfections actually give it character. And I'm just gonna come over top of this. right here. No, oops, not even, it's not quite dry. And then I'm going to do 2 more on the bottom because I have room. So I'm going to come down like this, and like this. And go, oh, that looks so good. You can tell the paint is dry. You'll tell with yours. If it's smearing, just let it wait because it's so much better. It's so much easier to work with. Then we'll do 1 more. I know some of you have like these huge pieces of driftwood you found. This is such the perfect project for that. Because even if you don't have the small pieces to make the ghost and everything, you could totally use rocks for that, or I don't know, I think that would probably be the best substitution. But there's the beginnings of decorating our haunted house. I want to let that dry before using the Sharpie to add those window details. So I'm going to let that dry over here. Now, let's see, here's my pumpkin. Let's see how he's doing. He's pretty dry. He's really bumpy, and your piece might be too. The really smooth pieces come from Williston. Some of these like bumpy, barky pieces are actually from the Okanagan. I did take some driftwood from there. And I kind of like it for the pumpkins because if you notice, pumpkins are really different too. When you go to the grocery store, there's bumpy, lumpy. Oh my gosh, I even saw like a peanut one where it looks like peanuts on it. It's crazy. So it's actually not meant to be perfectly smooth all the time. You can make variations with whatever you have. So I'm going to take my Sharpie. Let's make sure this is the one that works. It's not. Let's see, I actually like do this. Okay. So I'm just going to do some triangle eyes. I like to start with the line at the bottom first and then bring it up to a point on each side. And then you can color it in. He's not totally dry either, but you can get the point. See what happens at the top when it's not totally dry. So you want to make sure yours are. I'm going to do the same here. A little crooked. It's okay. Okay. And if you want to even it out, all you have to do, like mine are kind of crooked, I'm just going to come down and bring this eye up. Okay, and then we can do a nose. I've got like a big crevice there. So I'm going to start with my mouth first. And if you want to do a mouth, you can start with a curve. I'm going to come down, over, and back up for a tooth. And then I'm going to come up. Oh, this is going to be cute. And then I'm going to swoop it down. And then I feel like he could even have another tooth. So I'm going to come up, over, down, and then, oh, look how cute he is. And then I'm just going to join it. Okay, and then that's just needing to be colored in. You can use your black paint and brush for this for sure, but the Sharpie, especially if the paint is dry, like my paint isn't totally dry, so I'm kind of doing this the way I am for video's sake, but like you color it in and then you can get like better in there. I've kind of more little pieces, but it's wet, so it's smearing a bit. So if it's totally dry, I won't do that. But anyway, look at that cute little smile. Okay, and then we need a nose, so I'm gonna just stick a little triangle in there for his nose. Now I'm just gonna see, this is dry, and this one actually kind of looks like a little stem is on top. So I'm just gonna put a little black there just to make it a stem. That kind of worked out. That wasn't planned, but we're gonna do that. Okay. Okay, that is so cute. Now I'm gonna put the little cat eyes on. This looks like it's dry enough for me to show you that. It's a black cat with googly eyes. Actually, I just want to smooth this out because this yellow looks like it's almost dry too. And we really want that to dry so I can show you the windows. Okay, let's put our eyes on. This might be an adult helper job, unless you've worked with the glue gun before, then you can do it. All I did was put a little dab on the eye and drop it on. You can also, once you have that eye down, you can measure and do the dab directly on. And squish it on. I like to get rid of the little glue strings, although they could look like little cobwebs. Oh, look how cute he is. Okay, so we've got our cat, our jack-o'-lantern, and our ghost. And the last part of this project is adding the detail. Well, it's such a big piece, I gotta kind of pull it down here. Is adding the finishing details to the windows. So if you see on mine, I just used a black Sharpie to put those lines in. And then the circle that we talked about with the little circle inside. And I did a little window detail here, which I showed you, and a door handle, which I showed you on the piece of paper. But I think because this actually might look really cool even without that, I'm going to try gluing it to show you even without those window details. Because maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe I should do that. Okay, so I am actually going to glue my ghost on, and I want it up here. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of glue like on the middle of this guy. I'll just show you. Oops. Got a whole bunch of glue on the middle. And I'm just going to press it down where I want it. And I'm just going to let it sit for a minute. Do the same for the cat. You're going to have to decide what side you want it on. And then also I had to be conscious of, because I want this to kind of stand. So this one has like a, it's not all the way flush. And so by putting the cat on, it gives it some stability. So I'm going to, when I put it on, I want it to add to the structure. So I'm going to make them the same at the bottom. So when I glue this on, I'm just going to make sure the bottoms line up. And that means that I'm going to need a lot of glue right here. So that's something that you're going to have to measure out. So I'm just going to get a whole bunch of glue. Add another little glue stick in here. And I'm just going to put that on. Actually, I'm going to get it all over here. Sometimes the glue gun gets jammed. Okay, so I'm going to put that like that, and I'm actually going to kind of push it to the side because I like how the ear isn't hidden by I didn't get that on there fast enough, guys, so I can do it again. But like if I go like this, it's okay, but I kind of like the ear kind of showing. So that's okay, that happened. I'm just gonna pull it off. When you're working with hot glue, you can't take as long as I was taking there. I was just contemplating something. But so I'll just pull that off. Don't even have to get it all off, but I'm gonna pull it off, and then I'm gonna redo it and make it so that the ear, I'm just gonna, okay, my glue's hot now. So let's see. So I'm just gonna measure that and try that again. I don't mind making mistakes in front of you guys. It's like this might happen to you, and I want you to feel like it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So I'm going to push this down. I made sure it was flush at the bottom. Oh, my ghost is on there really good. So here we are with this. Ooh, I kind of like it without the lines on the window. That looks spooky too. It's going to be a hard decision for some of you. And then the last little thing is this. I think the orange on the bottom just adds that perfect pop of color that just makes this so Halloween. And it doesn't really matter where you place him. I kind of like want to place him kind of to the side because I just think that adds a little bit more personality. So like I could have him straight, or I could just kind of have him to the side, and I think that's so cute. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna get my glue. Hopefully I don't need another stick because it's over there. I'm just gonna measure where I want it and push this from here because there we go. Okay, got my glue on there. I'm gonna push him off to the side. I'm just gonna hold him. And there we go. That is just so cute. You will see that on my doorstep. Maybe I'll put both out. They're all different, but they're all so cute. And you know, that's the thing about art, is that I intended to do the windows with the lines, and then my paint wasn't dry and I didn't want to keep you too long. And I already had this one where I could show you what it looked like. And I actually love this, and that's what art is all about. It's all about just going with the process. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos in the box, and thank you for coming.